Geoff Donaghy from ICC Sydney, head honcho, and we've just been talking about they've now implemented 100% of local wine. Geoff, who's drinking all these wine and who's tasting them?
Well, we get just on 1.5 million, 1.4 million people through our doors, delegates, attendees at events. So we provide a whole lot of wine, and we've I think delivered about 300,000 bottles in the first 3 years that we've been open. And this year we're going to 100% New South Wales product because it's some of the best in the world.
Speaking of wine, which is your favourite? Or what are you drinking at the moment?
Well, I have a wide research brief, recommendations from our sommelier, but I'm working my way through the various New South Wales wine regions. I'm a red wine drinker.
Yes.
Occasionally I'll have a white wine, but that's really just as an entree to a nice glass of red.
I hear.
But so I'm just working my way through, and I think what's really exciting, and the video's captured this as well, is a lot of the winemakers are introducing new varietals.
Yes.
New species, new vines. You know, some of the the Spanish and the Italian varieties. So I'm working my way through some of those as well.
I heard there was Pecorino. That's a cheese.
Pecorino, yeah, I must follow that one up as well. But it's obviously a wine variety as well. But we've got Barbera, Albarino from Spain, and plus quite a few others as well.
So are you the Shiraz, the Cab Sav, the Pinot?
Pinot, when I want a serious drink, a good Pinot.
Nice.
Shiraz more for the the day-to-day quaffing wines. Or a Cab Sav. I mix. I try and keep an open mind and
of course.
And match. I match the taste of the wine to the bottle I've just opened.
Exactly. And are you like the person who has a lighter wines in summer and the heavier wines in winter?
Not really. No.
Just the wine's a wine.
Yeah, I think. Whatever goes with the food as much as anything.
Agreed.
Relatively speaking, but there's not too much food. And my favourites are Italian and Asian. There's not too much of those that something in the red range won't suit.
And what's a dish that you'd love to have right now?
Well, I just had an Asian salad for lunch. So
Asian salad?
Yes.
Did you have a wine with it?
No, not while I'm working. No, don't drink while I'm working. So.
And what are you reading at the moment?
I actually had 2 weeks leave, and I took 2 weeks off during the Christmas New Year break. Lovely. And I wasn't travelling anywhere for the first time ever, so I had 2 weeks at home. So I consumed about 6 or 7 books.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Touchy-feely books or Kindle books?
No, proper books. Proper books that you buy in a proper bookshop, and
exactly.
The smell of the books, the smell of the paper, and that tactile feeling.
So do you underline and highlight books, or dog-ear books, or you keep it pristine?
No, I'm tempted to say that I colour in the pictures, but then hand them on, but no.
That's a whole different conversation.
So I read a whole lot of books. Like the one I've just finished is a book called Swing Time by Zadie Smith, who's a UK author of Indian extraction. Wonderful author.
Wow.
And I've just picked up and started again Catch-22.
Oh, wow.
Which I read in my student days. It was an incredibly influential story on me in those days.
Wow.
So in fact I read it 2 or 3 times when I was in my student days. So I'm going to read that again as well. But I read a lot of online news sites and trade magazines. So in our business, you've just got to keep ahead of things.
Agreed. Work-life balance, how are you managing that?
Well, I prefer to call it a work-life career balance. And when you're in senior management, work is just the time you spend at work and the time you spend, with family and fine. But in a career, when you get into middle and upper level management as well, you need to be across all of the issues. You need, I read probably 5 or 6 sites every morning as soon as I wake up, the Australian news sites. The American.
But is that because you have to?
Well, you probably don't have to.
You
probably don't have to, but if you want to be a serious manager and in the upper levels of management, you need to be across all those things. You have to be aware of the industry. You have to be aware of trends as well. But then once I've finished on all of those, and I have another look at most of them, because we're a global company, and we operate in all of the continents now, so I need to know what's happening in those places.
It's a lot of reading.
Once all that's on, though, my trusty, well, first of all, Vivino, the wine app, I use that a lot to do wine.
That's going to be my next question.
Wine research. But Spotify is probably the on constant airplay on my thing.
So is it like 70s, 80s, 90s music?
No.
Classical?
No, much broader than that. Classical, blues. Classical and blues, but also, just as we've learnt, there's a definition and a tag for every age group. There's different tags for different music groups as well, and what's called roots music or Americana, which is sort of a version of country music, which came out of and there's a fantastic program on SBS at the moment following the roots of country music.
Okay.
And the best way I've ever heard it described is country music and blues music, 2 sides of the same street. in the south of America, where they both evolved, with the African American influence. So I do a lot of research on music as well, and follow back through. If you hear an artist and then hear who that artist might have played with and where they came from. But so pretty broad taste. But if I had to narrow it down to a very clear definition, it would be classical, which I love, and blues and all the derivations of blues music.
Excellent. I watched a documentary with Billy Connolly, and he was in a group with Jerry Rafferty.
Billy Connolly plays the banjo.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a great musician.
Yeah, and he was in a band with Jerry Rafferty.
Yeah.
A long time ago. I can't remember the name of it, but really fascinating story and how they got on well together and making music.
Yeah.
Sensational. And when you travel, what is your top 3 things that you take with you?
Books, music, and a unquenchable curiosity to learn about the country that I'm going to.
Is that like language?
A little bit of language. I get totally embarrassed every time I go to Europe and
That's all right.
meet colleagues who can speak 4 or 5, 6 languages.
Yeah.
No, curiosity mainly about food. Because I think you can tell.
You are a foodie,
You can tell a lot about culture and the evolution of a culture through its food. How people relax and recreate. How the time they spend. So just curiosity about learning the destination, not just flying in and out. And that's what we're endeavouring to create for the delegates that come to ICC Sydney as well. We leave them with a very broader opinion and a broader experience of the whole of Sydney, not just the time in the convention centre and the time in their hotel.
Because you mentioned you had 125 farmers, or is that right?
Yeah, we deal directly with between 120 and 120 farmers and wine producers.
Fantastic.
As well. It takes a bit more work.
Yep.
It's taken a lot of research by Tony, our executive chef, and Linnell, our culinary director, just to go out and meet, just establish these relationships, get their trust in us. The great thing for them, these are small businesses, very good at growing what they do. We give them the comfort that they get, the 100% that they're going to be paid, that they'll get paid on time.
Yeah, that's clear. That's fantastic.
So we've formed wonderful, mutually rewarding partnerships with a lot of these farmers and producers and the wine growers, of course.
And hopefully you get out there and visit these people, right?
I do get a chance to. I've been to a few of the major wine regions. I try to do a trip with our team at least once a year. Last year we were at the Hunter. We get involved in their local wine awards. We sponsor some of those in some of those areas as well. So we really really integrate ourselves into that community. So it's a true partnership, not just a supplier-purchaser transaction.
Excellent. Geoff Donaghy, thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Anthony.